So Alien Earth is here, and the first episode does not disappoint. From the opening shot, which is, I mean, it's like a blow by blow feeling. It's just so good compared to like the original film from the 70s that Ridley Scott did. It just feels like an alien film, and everything from the start to the finish with that cliffhanger ending and like the Dio song. Oh, Jesus, man. This is everything I've been waiting for in terms of a really solid alien show. And I'm loving the fact that we're going to get something that's, it's spread out as opposed to only getting feature films where it's much more condensed and it's, sort of breakneck pace from start to finish. This, we're getting moments of tight suspense mixed with some character development, which is really, really cool. But I got to get into the actual review of the episode. So let's dive in. If you haven't watched it yet and you don't want spoilers, you know the rule. Go watch it, come back. My reviews are not spoiler free. I talk about the whole thing because it's really cool. We got to talk about all the things. And there's a complex cast here who it's going to take a few episodes to get up to speed with who everyone is. So, essentially, we start off with a Weyland-Yutani ship that is in space, coming back from a mission. And it's been on I believe, a 65-year mission, and it was collecting a bunch of specimens. And we get to meet this cast of characters who are waking up out of cryo sleep, and they're a few months away from Earth. And as we meet this crew, um, it's essentially we get this backstory of the fact that there's a new fifth company on Earth who is rising up to be one of the dominant forces, and that is led by the world's youngest trillionaire, and he's behind a company called Prodigy. This is going to be where it's going to take a while to get used to who all these main characters are. Um, but uh, the the big deal is that these guys are in competition with all of the corporations that we've already known from the past, like Weyland-Yutani. So we also get a definition of like humans versus cyborgs versus synthetics, right? And so we see cyborgs here. The security chief of the ship is a cyborg, and then of course we have our traditional like android style characters like we've seen in the past, such as Timothy Oliphant's character, who's playing. Well, he's not more. He's more of a. He's a synthetic as well, but it's weird. They do a lot of different stuff here in this show, which is really cool. So establishing who all these characters are is going to be the trippy part. The good thing is that we don't have to pay attention to who all the people on the ship were because they all die. On the way to Earth, apparently there is a something goes wrong with the ship, and all we know is we get this sequence where we see the security officer, the cyborg guy, who's in the computer room talking to Mother, saying, hey, ship's going down, crew is dead. There's an alien loose. We get our first view of a xenomorph killing off the last of the crew members, and then basically they crash land into the planet. Now, this is why it's going to be really hard to keep track of who all these people are, because we're getting introduced to a new cast of characters. So we have the synthetics, which are Timothy Oliphant's characters. We have the cyborgs, which is like the security chief of the ship. And then we have these new like hybrids, and we get this sequence where this billionaire kid who's behind um, the Prodigy company um, is essentially behind he's called I think his name is Boy Cavalier is what it says. He's the world's youngest trillionaire. Whether that's his real name or not, who remains to be seen. But he's got this place called Neverland Research Facility on an island, and on this island we meet a young girl who is terminally ill, and she is the world's first hybrid. She is basically they transfer her consciousness into um, a synthetic body, and it's successful. She becomes the first um, hybrid, and she calls herself Wendy after Wendy in Peter Pan. And It's all a secret. No one's supposed to know what's going on. And she's a child inside of an adult synthetic body. And once this happens and it's successful, she gets convinced to be the big sister to a bunch of other test subjects who are all terminally ill children. And there's, I think, several of them, 4 or 5, and they all go through operations, and she convinces them, and you'll be able to do this, and they all get put into these synthetic bodies. And Cavalier, the guy behind Prodigy, it's obviously sinister because he's doing this. I mean, he's in competition with Wayne Yutani, and these corporations doing horrible things, and it's all about the race to be the best, the richest, the fastest, etc. So everything they're doing is under the table in secret, hush hush. So they're constantly running tests on these kids, and they are kids. Let's not forget that. Deep down inside, they're all children, and the reason they are children is because apparently the adult mind is too rigid, it's too set in its ways, and it's too difficult to transfer an adult consciousness into a synthetic body. So they're using children. I will say, at the very least, the silver lining here is that they're using terminally ill children. Um, and I'm assuming they're doing that because no one's going to miss them. But at the same time, they're not just sacrificing innocence. They're taking kids who would be dead anyway and giving them new life. But um, part of this story is that Wendy has a real life brother who thinks that she's dead because he was told that she's dead, and she's been told she's never allowed to contact him and she needs to forget about him because she's going to live forever as a synthetic and he's just human. Well, her brother is a medic, and Prodigy is concerned because she seems to be obsessing over him, constantly watching videos of him and keeping track of him. And then in the midst of all of this chaos, with the ship coming down into Prodigy City, her brother is one of the first responders to the shipwreck. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. And so she sees her brother going into danger, and she basically goes in and tells Cavalier, she's like, hey, you know, because there's this idea of, which she doesn't know. She bursts into the office, but I need to back up a little bit here because there's a couple of things that are going on. So one of the things that's going on is Wayland Yutani wants to protect everything on the ship. So as the first responders are responding, the cyborg security officer is essentially going around and capturing these individuals and locking them up because he's protecting the cargo until the reinforcements from Wayland Yutani can arrive. And when he finds out these guys are from Prodigy, he's on peak alert. Meanwhile, Cavalier is like, "Hey, there's a downed Wayland Yutani deep space vessel that's here. Imagine what's on board that. We need to get there and extract those things." And as he's having this conversation with his big chief, Wendy comes in with Timothy Oliphant's character in tow, and she's like, "Hey, you know, we can go in and rescue all these people and you know do this mission for you because we can't be hurt. We're super strong. We're super fast." And she's super naive because she's a child, right? And he's basically like, I don't know. And then his advisor's like, "Dude, don't do it. They're your prototypes. If you lose them, you're out billions of dollars." And he's like, "Screw it. Let's roll the dice." And he decides that he's going to send these kids in synthetic bodies in. And Wendy's ulterior motive is she wants to save her brother and make sure her brother doesn't die because she sees him on the ship as a first responder. Um, and so her and her team of synthetics are off with Timothy Oliphant's. Her and her team of hybrids, I should say, are off with Timothy Oliphant's synthetic leading their team as they go off to this ship. And, ultimately she thinks they're going there on a search and rescue mission, but ultimately, you know, Cavalier wants whatever is on that ship from Wayland Yutani because he wants to steal it because he says at one point, she can sue me if she's pissed about it. Um, Now, and as all of this is going on, we do get some nasty creatures and face huggers, and there's this. I get the heebie-jeebies just think about when the cyborg tied a couple of these first responders up to a pipe. They can't react, and this like it's nasty, man. It's like a creature that like attaches itself to the guy's neck and then fills up like a tick, and it just drains all his blood and he dies. And then the other guy gets bit in the chest, and it's classic alien, just ick factor. Um, but the closing shot here is Wendy saying, I'm gonna save my brother, and he's not gonna die. And then we get this fade to black as a Dio song comes in, and it's just we know. I can't wait to see what episode two is gonna bring to the table. So I gotta go watch episode two so that I can get the review out. But in the meantime, first episode is out. Phenomenal start to a show. I am just primed and ready for more. So let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. I watch lots of shows and movies, and we play games, and you'll see there's lots of stuff on the channel. So we'll see you guys in the next one.